beliefs and things and expectations. Okay? The joy is figuring it out. How do I feel when I do this? And we start listening only, typically, to that internal voice and that internal thing when we have pain. So experience is based on feeling. But since you can't really measure feeling, and we're such a science, data-driven society, it kind of gets, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, show me the studies. Show me the studies. I can't show you. I just made this stuff up, and I think it's true. It seems to me, when I talk with people, it seems to be related. So the big idea is we do not need to be like that, whoever them is in your life. You don't have to. I wonder what we're getting fit for. The beach, friends, the confidence to take our shirt off, to just not be called fat anymore. That was a big one for me growing up. I was like, I might not do anything in my life today. I'm never going to get called fat again. That was my motivation. That's what I was like, oh, I'll do this sporty stuff, great. External tracking leads to external planning. If I'm deciding that this is telling me what's good, they're also going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to follow it. So things to question again. Whose program are you following? And why? Why that person? Why are they absolutely right? Have you met them? Do they know your story? Your history? Your situation? And who's doing the work? You're the one doing the work. Shouldn't you know why? And shouldn't you be creating it as well? Internal tracking leaves room for planned exploration. Right? Listening to the body. This is a switch that I've had. So I definitely went from following everything to a T to adjusting everything kind of on the fly, but still kind of following the bones. And after I went to functional range conditioning, and again, Spino had this great thought: if everything you're doing is on a page and planned before you get there, you're missing something. You're missing something because you're looking at this and you're not checking in with this. Our trouble, though, is that we don't trust doing this because we haven't been doing it. All the success and all the things that we've gotten by following a coach, a plan, et cetera, et cetera. That's our success. He told me to get the ball, I got the ball. Boom, I'm going to New Zealand. This is awesome. Awesome results. Okay? Or, when you did kind of come up with your plan, you failed. So then you're like, well, I obviously don't know what I'm talking about. But maybe it was just the wrong plan. You learn that that's not it. That doesn't mean that you're always going to be wrong, but you learn not to do this. This idea that I see, and my gosh, like, again, working at the high school and seeing these giant, I'll say it, really fat kids, and they got Nike shirts saying, like, stretched, like, beat you, or every damn day. And I'm like, do you see what your t-shirt is saying? Do you know? Like, do you just in the dark? Did you buy that t-shirt? Someone buy it for you? Like, do you know that you're trying to communicate something with that? And are we that disconnected that if I get this shirt, I'm part of the club? It's a Nike shirt. I'm down. Everybody, it's Oregon. Everybody's Nike. It's good. Never mind this Under Armour tag. I'm a deal person, so right? So this idea of beating yesterday, is it possible? And people will tout PR every day, PR every day. You just show up. That's beating. Is it desirable to constantly beat yesterday? What would we look like? Think about if you always built on, you always kept going up on those kind of physical statutes. You'd be wrecked. Really wrecked, because you'd be training wrecked. This here, the ability to create your own stuff to do, to implement it, to while you go through it, evaluate and then adapt it. Isn't that what we're really after? Is that the type of fitness that we're looking for? Is to not have this person say, do this because I said so and I'm smart and you paid for it. I argue yes. Competition and comparison defines and confines what we want. It's a trap. In doing so, we sacrifice individualism. soon as we compare, we're just things. Why don't you have what I have? Or why do you have what I want? And we always compare the destination, the end up. I want to ask, gosh, can we compare journeys? Can I sit here and can you tell me your story? Like, who are you as a person? How did you, what was your story? Like, were you fat as a kid? Yeah, me too. Like, I hated that. That always made me feel bad. I didn't want that. Yeah. You know, we read the biographies of all our heroes. I read Walter Payton's biography. I read Michael Jordan's. I wanted to know his story because that was part of it. I wanted to be like these people. The same plans don't equal the same results unless you have the same DNA, the same situation in life, the same circumstance, the same resources. It doesn't equate, but we want to believe it is because we see this person, we say, I want to get that and I have control over it. We want to believe that. In doing so, are we setting ourselves up for failure in saying, I'll follow that plan, I'll be like them? Or by doing our own thing, do we set ourselves up for ownership? I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you really what progress I've made in the last couple of weeks and just do my own thing, but I sure as hell know that I own what I'm doing. And I feel really good, and I'm super engaged, and my mind is right. And I'm done when I say I'm done. Could be 20 minutes, could be an hour and a half. There aren't any boxes I need to fit in. We also kind of get tied into should wanting versus do wanting. So especially athletes, they don't question anything. They just do. And there's this beautiful blessing of figuring that out. What is it that I actually want? Like everybody tells me I should want this. It's okay. And when you don't want anything, you just go along with it. You have to figure that out for yourself. So a good personal tale on this. This is me as a youngin'. It is stamped. It's December 2nd, 1999. This person, I don't know if anybody semi-famous in the fitness, this is Jen Sinkler. If any of you know. She's kind of she wears lots of color, lipstick, and kind of things. And she was a teammate of mine. So kind of a personal tale growing up. I played basketball throughout, from 4th grade through high school. And I was like, oh, no one offered me a scholarship, that's cool. Like, I'm gonna go walk on, like I'm gonna go try out, like I think. But I have that weird kind of, it comes from being alone a lot. That kind of confidence that if Michael Jordan that time was like, I'll play you one-on-one, I'll be like, I got a shot. Like that's like, I got a shot. And if I lose, I mean, you're Michael Jordan. If I beat you, man, the whole pressure's on you. Even at high school now, I'm like, I'm a 36-year-old. Like if you want to play me one-on-one and pump chests out, I win, it's kind of cool. You win an 18-year-old, like on the basketball team, like who's up? And I'll just check it. Right? And they're just like, no, I don't want to play. Right? It's a weird way to get out of things. But I remember at University of Illinois, it was weird because the female coach, it was this weird like mother duckling situation as I'm bringing it. We're all like sitting on the ground, like children, and she was sitting on a chair and she was just like story time almost. And she was like, now guys, we're not gonna have open tryouts this year. And I was like, oh, like now what? Like this is my plan. I had my headband, I had my wristband up to the forearm, right? I've been practicing. Like now what am I gonna do with this? So played some intramurals of certain things like broom ball, which is a weird game where you shoes on ice. It's kind of like hockey, but you use a broom. Really weird game. So I was like, yeah, sports are great. And then this gal in my poetry class, English 101, was like, hey, you look like you like sports. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like sports. There's this rugby tryout. You want to come? Sure, I'll check it out. I walked to rugby practice. Like, this is how you take a tug, this is how you give a tackle. And go get the ball. And I was like, go get the ball? Like, that's the job? That's all I did. Like, that's me. Loved it. First sight, yes, everything about it. This weird subculture that it had. Like, it was this underground thing that only like the tough chicks, and yeah, I'm totally a tough chick. Tough chicks did, Fast forward 2 months later, 2 months after I started, right? Really liked going after the ball. Like, I loved it. Protecting it. The national coach, I was at some kind of select side territorial thing, and the national coach was like, I need you to get on a plane 6 weeks. I'm like, just got plane. I'm like, oh, hello, Mr. Steinberg. 6 weeks, huh? It's like, yeah, we're gonna go tour the United States. We're gonna go tour England, Scotland, and Wales. And I want you to come with us. I think you'd be a good addition. All right, you just gotta get a plane ticket. About $1,000, huh? Okay. Remember, my dad was an Italian immigrant, right? Very tight on money. So it's like, well, it was a great for offering, but my dad ain't gonna give me $1,000, so I can't remember. I'm like, was it a cell phone? I don't know if it was a cell phone in '99 or like a regular phone, but I remember calling my dad and being like, oh my gosh, Dad, you'll never believe what just happened, right? This guy called me up and said he wants me to go on a flight, but I know we don't have the money for it. It's fine, I just wanted to tell you I thought it was awesome. And then I paused for the inevitable, like, oh yeah, come home, etc. And I paused, and this guy who still works at this factory and wears Walmart clothes, it's like, who did I write the check out to? I was like, so this guy, who's never ever seen me play, is just gonna give me $1,000 to make this happen. Okay, he believes in me, so I gotta do this, absolutely. I go, it was awesome. I ended up got to play in New Zealand and all. I had these great opportunities. Rugby was this beautiful thing, and it was this thing that made me special. I taught during this time. I had this kind of side career, like, I guess I'll teach so I can have the summers off to train and make my life easy. And it's pretty easy. I'll just like put videos on and like have them like roll out balls and pee, and then I'll like secretly plot plays and stuff, and it'll just make my life really easy. I taught rugby at the high school, and it kind of took off. I had all these giant like Hispanic boys, right, playing rugby with me out for 3 hours in the rain. It got so ingrained. I would wear rugby attire. Like, I didn't even respond to my name. Like, they called me a rugby. Like, they did. Like, they're like, hey, rugby. Like, hey, what do you want? I got a vocab issue. Like, I responded to rugby. It was absolutely everything. All I did was travel and play rugby. And then I blew my knee out. Recently in Portland, I blew my knee out, and all those new friends that couldn't wait for the superstar to get to the team, they weren't around. And I of course, Rocky asked, I'm gonna get you back together, Nate. Like, I'm gonna work you, I'm gonna make everything. And you know, I did all this stuff, and I got dismissed from physical therapy, and I was still a shell of myself. Well, I'm okay, you don't know what you're doing, I'm gonna figure this out. And that's kind of where all this biomechanics stuff that I figured came from this. Right, so I kind of worked my way back and got into coaching, as all former athletes tend to do. You're gonna share your sport with the world. It was phenomenal. Like, I don't even know, we were so good, and I don't even know. I would just like, play together guys, get the ball. Like, that was my coaching, and it worked. And it was this amazing group of girls over at Western Oregon. And I did that for 4 years, for 5 years. They graduated and it wasn't the same without this coaching, and I just didn't want to do it. My body was hurting. It was still hurting all the time because I kept, again, doing, where's Jordan at? Doing those things I shouldn't have been doing because I had to, because there was a season and these people counted on me, and I was supposed to be this great player. And I remember I remember the exact moment I was sitting in San Francisco Treasure Island, if anybody is familiar with that, and in goose poop, of course, Jill, because that's all it is. And I remember sitting there to break at this like Pacific Coast camp, and I'm like, how am I doing here? Like, I don't like these people. These aren't my friends. I don't like this coach. And that right there was like the turning point to me kind of stopping. Now, when your identity is wrapped around something like a sport, it's very hard to let go of, because again, all your eggs are in that basket. So I got depressed for about 2 years, and I'm a pretty lively person. So it was just basically kind of, I was going through the motions and sitting in this hole and trying to figure all this stuff out. And in the process of it, this epiphany came that I didn't choose any of this. I didn't know what I wanted to do. This guy said, you're great, come on this whirlwind. And I was like, yes, like, I don't know what I want either, but I know I definitely want to travel. I do want a passport. Please take me somewhere. My family doesn't go anywhere. Like, please, I'll come. I'll do whatever you say. And it just kind of built on these things. And when I figured out, like, gosh, if I didn't choose it, then how can I also fail at it? And so it was like, no, I'm Miss Ruffalo, I'm not rugby anymore. But you know, I'd smile at them and having them say my same name and draw in that fashion, and the biomechanics stuff and getting people out of pain. That's the teaching and getting people out. That's what I'm good at. I am so much better at this thing than I ever was wearing my nation's colors, my hand and my heart. So much better. And if I wouldn't have stopped and sat in that dark place and figured all this stuff out instead of just driving through, because there are in the rugby community, I don't know if anybody rugby are familiar with it? It's pretty tight-knit. You have 40-year-olds still playing, 45, all busted up, because that's them. That's the cool subculture. And again, I don't harp on them, but I didn't want that. So this idea that I only wanted this thing that other people wanted me to have, that was huge. And then I started to figure out what I'm interested in. You know what I went back to? That 5-year-old cutting. What? Like, I didn't cut any of my fingers. These aren't even safety scissors, right? that original exploration, that's where I went back to. So, internal transition. When we start lacking motivation, when that motivation wanes, do we just crush it? Or do we maybe listen? Why is it? I remember my last few years, I used to write on my hands, super cheesy, what, worth it all, right? On all my, so I could see them when I got off the ground. Because I knew I had to get off the ground, because rugby is constantly on the ground, but I could see it. Like, yeah, I know you're gonna be so sore tomorrow, you're gonna be taking like 12 ibuprofen throughout the day. You know, you're gonna be miserable for a week, but you played with your team on this game. Then you start questioning why. Why am I doing this in the first place? The first piece is that this isn't necessarily bad. This is something trying to tell you, maybe there's something else out there that you should be interested in. You won't say you will combat it at the beginning. If we start to maybe think and listen to it, you might find out and end up in a better place. As you question why, you start seeking new opportunity. As you weigh, okay, well this isn't really for me, but what about this? You start getting excited by new interests. For me, this was biomechanics and pain and all the McGill stuff and FMS, and I was going to perform better, right? And I wanted to be a good teacher now. I wanted to, how can I be a better teacher? You explore alternative worlds, right? You widen the behavior gap. All those things you did as that old person, you start to slowly tick away. The big, and you know when the identity shift happens, when somebody asks you, what do you do? And you say, I used to blank. Well, I used to play rugby, now I just teach. 2, I'm a teacher. Yeah, I teach at the high school. Yeah, it's Woodburn. No, they're awesome. You wouldn't, they're actually awesome. Don't make that face, they're amazing. I fill my life with joy. And the same thing if you go back to that success guy on the Twitter account, the Giovanni, right? Former. Right? I bet if I took up like Brian Urlacher, former linebacker, Chicago Bears, now he like hawks like hair growth stuff. But, right? Remember when I was great? That idea of used to be is killing. It's crushing. Former. Because then we're faced with the now what? And that just is added to it. So it is compelling to get through the struggle. This is kind of what the work is for. Does anyone know this reference? Okay, thank you. Never Ending Story. Super weird movie, but super good. Luck Dragon will try you there. But this idea that the struggle doesn't have to be against somebody else. It's the idea to be this thing. For me, it was this sadness and this lack of purpose. I want to be this and not them. Like I'm going to take you with. You want to come? Like legit. I'm not going to ask you to pay $9.95 to come with me or a monthly. You want it? Like here. It gives you the story to tell to strangers that may or may not be interested in it about where you came in. It is a victory of the self. So again, you stop and shut out all the noise and you say, what am I about? What am I into? And you go back to that 5-year-old of wonder somewhere. It's inspiring, it builds confidence, and it begs you to share it. Begs you no longer are hoarding binders of T-Nation information and Dan John stuff that you found a link to and printing it out and just keeping it in binders. You're sharing it with people. It is experience and learning process that you can't get taken away. I can't take away that journey. The destination is I'm over here and I'm over here. Like that's always going to change, but that journey is yours. And when you help people, as one of my clients right there, right? You relive that victory when you help them with their stuff. that was just like your stuff. And you get to keep learning. You think, and this is the beauty of it, talking about, you guys ever have parents that you are like friends to now? And like now all of a sudden you switch it and you're like the parent and you have these conversations and you're like teaching them about life. And so for me it was my mom, and my mom was kind of like the housewife, yes, low self-esteem, do everything that you're supposed to do. But for her to not second guess herself, to act and just do stuff and behave, to sit here and just like do all these weird movements on this thing, not giving a damn who cares or who's watching, who's saying, who's that weirdo doing ninja stuff. Like, to just do it because you know it's right, because everything so far has been right, is amazing. Talk about empowerment. I don't need any of this stuff. I have me. Right? And the biggest thing is that we can get to this place without taking it away from somebody else. That's what that competition is, right? I'm going to take yours if you don't have any, and I'm going to keep it. And now I got to protect it. But you don't have to take it away. Information is that thing where the more you give it away, the more you get to, weirdly. It's kind of like love in that way. It's like you just can't run out. So cooperation gives you renewed purpose, right? It gives you a vehicle for that work ethic. I asked you the question, what makes you more important, being the best or being helpful? I can tell you right now, working at a high school, who are the most important people to me? Janitor, the secretary. I could care less what the superintendent does. He has no effect on my life. But when I come to the janitor, again, like a helpless person, and be like, this broke, I will get it fixed in 3 seconds. I want to be helpful. That's never really did much for me. It gives you that motivation to improve, and others become the purpose. Where others were the purpose to beat them, now they are the purpose to help them. It gives you this cause that is greater than yourself, that maybe you're not worthy for or you don't want to be boastful about, but this thing is, you're just so excited about it, you can't wait to share it. Cooperation is shared improvement. This is the idea, there's plenty of room at the top. We always assume that pedestal is like so tiny and that we have to just kick people down to stay there. But I think it's pretty big, and it's just as easy to, hey, yeah, pull people up. Collaboration, a balance, give and take. For the workaholics, how nice is it when somebody helps you? Right? During this event, when I said, hey, you want to put yes, yes, yes? Dude, I don't even know you. Like, I just met Michael yesterday. I haven't even met Guido. Like, I just sent some emails like, what do you think? Yes, I can use this facility? Awesome. Like, I don't know computers, IT guy, I don't even know. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be right there. Same thing with the kids, right, at the high school. They're always such a burden. You know what? They want to be helpful too. But do we give them the chance? In this competitive thing where we're always trying to fend off, can we let people help us? And does that necessarily weakness? So cooperation, I'll kind of read this out for you. Calvin and Hobbes. I won, I did it. I'm the champion, I'm the best there is, I'm top of the heap, ha ha ha. Looking at it, is this all there is? Is that moment like all good now? Right? I remember winning championships and then going to the grocery store, like to get food, and you like walk up and you see the cashier. The cashier is looking at you and you're just like, don't you know what I just did, cashier? And the cashier's just like, $5.99. Okay, cashier, you're not in this game. But the truth is that when you win, nobody really cares. You're going to win. Your teammates are going to win for that second. The other team is going to care that they didn't win. It's relatively small. And again, it's just momentary. I don't think that belittles winning, necessarily. Right? It just redefines it. Longevity of a champion. Again, a champion is only a champion until they get undefeated. So then they have less pressure on them to keep doing what they're doing. Participation, I think if everybody won, a lot of people would move around more. I think if we didn't compete with each other in gyms all the time and like flaunt and puff and all of that stuff, we'd have a lot more people around. Medals, ribbons, and awards, maybe it's just me, but those don't do anything. Like I would just shove mine in this Ziploc bag under my bum and do these letters. It doesn't make my life any better. If I'm looking at them, I'm looking at the past. I don't want the past, I want the now. And is less distinction and separation a good thing? The letters after your name, the qualifications. I just teach PE. but I think I figured some stuff out. I think I have stuff to share. Not because of the titles of after my name, but because of my name itself. It exists. Closing thoughts. Has anyone seen this movie? Okay, I'm not going to wreck it for anybody who doesn't, but bawled. I'm super emotional. So the ending happened, and I was just like, and it just welled out. And basically the premise of this is that happiness is only real when you share it. Okay? And kind of on that note, it's called Into the Wild, by the way, for Netflix people who have some time afterwards. Maybe it's up there. The big thing that accumulation only becomes meaningful when you share it. If you gain all this knowledge and insight, it just weighs you down. What are you going to do with it? Hoarding is somebody who unfortunately come from parents of hoarders in some way, right? And you're trying to get down the stairs, and there's just like barely enough room to get because it's all stuff, right? Hoarding doesn't get you, it closes you off and confines you and restricts you. I always talk to my parents about space as a possibility, and the fact that you keep cramming stuff in this, you're losing possibility, and you just feel more and more confined and closed in. Progress doesn't have to come from suffering. Okay, pain doesn't equal gain. And not everything in this world should be a struggle. It's okay to let things be easy. Right? You don't have to be rocky every day. That'd be kind of a burden if you had to punch meat every day. Finally, to survive, we must adapt and be responsive to change. And I guess my call to you, my call out to you is that when things start to switch in your brain and your gut and your heart and your feeling, try not to stuff that away and be the boss of it, and maybe let it be the boss of you for a bit. That was a lot of talking. One more thing, if you are in this position, which it doesn't get talked about at all, please email me. I'll respond. I write a lot about this stuff on this website. I have mental and physical posts. So the mental stuff is all that you talked about today. Basically how to find yourself again after doing this thing. The physical stuff is basically how to make your body stop hurting. So either one of those that you're interested in. But please, you can get at me. Rufalus is my handle. Like Twitter, I barely use Instagram. I kind of put it up there. I just put things I explore. It doesn't matter to me how many likes I get. I'm just like, I thought it was cool. Like, that's right, one person in Bangladesh, you and me, we're good. I feel like I barked at you. Any questions or?
I've got one. So it seemed like you kind of had two different points or themes that you were trying to drive home. I just want to make sure I didn't miss one or misunderstand it. So the big one that you ended with was cooperation. I think I'm on board with that. And the other one, it seems like you're saying, is that we shouldn't spend time doing things that we don't enjoy, even if they're beneficial or even if they're...
Right, so that's the fine line. If you are not enjoying something, I guess the caution is be careful trying to struggle your way to something you're not even sure you know you want. I guess that's the takeaway, because I know the mental effort and the work, you love working, we all love, that's why we're here on Saturday, we wanted to learn stuff. But are we punishing ourselves when we don't have to be? And I'm not even getting into train smarter and all this stuff, but just, what is this, if you're really hurting in any way, like so all those ways, like, can you look at that instead of ignoring, just barrel through with the work ethic and make the work ethic lead you elsewhere? Did that answer your question?
I think so. So, are you talking specifically about training or just kind of?
I'm talking just general life, right? Because there's a point again when you're doing stuff that you're supposed to do. It's given to you on a paper. All the national team players are doing this. I did that. I'll tell you. I stole the national rugby teams. Stole it through online stuff. I don't even know how it happened, but I stole it and I was like, oh my god, this is the national, and I started doing it, and I did it because I thought it was the Holy Grail, but it was just wrecking me further. So absolutely do what you want to do and build that character and do all that overload and stuff and exercise and train, but again, what's it all for? Is that extra rep, is that one rep max worth 2 weeks of not being able to walk? that kind of mentality.
So I think this is the part I've got the question. I'm not really not trying to be like facetious here.
No.
Like you mentioned, like the high schooler who's like got 1 million hits on Instagram. Like I don't need to be here. Like how do you address that to a high schooler who's like, I'm failing all my classes. I don't care because I'm making 100 grand on Instagram a year. I don't need to graduate.
I honestly, I ask them questions that you have to get them to dig. So this is working out so far? So what have you seen other like 100,000? Have you seen this article where all these famous Instagrammers are working like 4 jobs because you think it pays money and it isn't? Is life okay for right now? You gonna do this forever? Like I honestly just ask them questions. I am not in the business of changing minds. I'm in the business of questioning minds. That's how I see my role as a teacher. And if you ask somebody, which I love that you're asking, if they really understand it, they should have an answer for you.
Yeah.
Even if you don't agree with it. But they should have a belief system besides blindly spouting out numbers because they think they should.
So then I'm 100% with you. I was a college athlete. I just finished my career like 2 years ago. And I had to go through this whole thing, like why am I training at? What do I do? But my big question that I like kind of have through this, and it really relates to the Muhammad Ali quote you put up earlier, where he said something like, I hated every second of training, but I told myself to get through it because I'm like around the chain. So where's the line between like I hate this, but I'm building something for like a better tomorrow, or something I can be really proud of, versus like I don't want to train, I don't want to do this anymore.
You got to figure that out, right? Because I think of it, and again, like I don't want to twist it, but I think using Muhammad Ali, like, gosh, I don't know if getting punched in the head all those times contributed. You know, I look at even the 85 Bears. There's like they do Where Are They Now? And I'm just like, your life is terrible. Oh my gosh, like you can't move. Like Fridge Perry, like I loved you. Like you sit on your porch all day. Like you know that kind of thing. I can't answer that. That's what you. But the thing is that please question it, right? And if you're consistently, you know, because the stress should make you better. Just because even if you just get better physically doesn't mean that you've got the answer. It means you're controlling one piece, but look around at the other pieces perhaps. And maybe, you know, you think about a lot of people are compulsive exercisers, like they're probably running from something else. Me was lonely. I never thought I was lonely. I thought I'm independent. Look at me, I can just get in my car and drive to Oregon, like boom, start a life. But as I dug through, I'm like, gosh, those Thanksgiving runs, I just suffered. Like, I thought that was building character and it was just making me sad. Sorry. Yeah, that's okay. No.
Thank you.
Well, I know, right?
And not so much a question, but I would really like to let you know that I very much appreciate one of the points you made about the joy of movement, because I feel like as we age, especially someone who's been an athlete but never identified as an athlete, and now I'm like an old fat kid, I'm like, shoot, what do I do? The joy of movement for me is very, very important. Like hot yoga, who's done it? I did it 5 times because I said it was trendy and everyone should like it. For the record, I hate it. And so I very much appreciate the point you made about the joy of movement. So if you don't enjoy it and you're not improving anything in life, I very much appreciate that mindset and thank you for sharing that.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Like one of my favorite things that never gets, I love taking walks. Like my gosh, just that was always my kind. Now I kind of just do all this weird hip stuff and work on that, but it's not, you can't really make money off of taking walks and promoting that, so people don't really say it. You gotta do this, and this. But thank you very much. Yeah, you should really enjoy, and that kind of goes back to your piece. If you're not liking what you're doing, you gotta question why you're doing it. And would that extra bit of muscle, is that gonna fix your problems, really? That kind of thinking.
It's one thing I actually use with my patients, and I'll tell them if they may come in for a shoulder injury, and I always say we're gonna work on your core, your legs, and the whole you. But if there are certain things that I give you that you don't like, or they hurt, or you hate them, you know, communicate that with me and we'll figure out something else. We may just, you know, throw that out. We have millions of other things we can do. But for them to really kind of listen to how their body feels.
Like this absurd idea that you know your body best.
Right.
Like I have eyes and I know stuff, but I can't get inside your body. I don't know what you're feeling. Jill knows, what are you feeling there? Is this good? Like it's this constant communication. I'm no dictator. I'm not your body. I'm not the boss of you. I'm recommending stuff. But your feedback tells me whether I'm on the right track or not.
And I think with athletes, that's just, I wish they did that in, you know, especially
that
college
mindset.
stuff. And because they're only told to do this. And if you question, you know, how they really felt about that,
Anything else? All right, that's my presentation. That went long, I apologize. So it's 11:18 right now, so I'm thinking again, we do at least another 10-minute bathroom, hydrate, orange, protein bar, text, Twitter, whatever it is that you're gonna do real quick. We'll kind of convene again at 11:30.